Say hello to the people. Can you say hello? Is the window open? Okay. What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel, whether you're new here or not. My name is Ella, and today we are going to be doing Grumpy Sunshine recommendations. This shirt is from Save Me Some Honey on Instagram, and I'm obsessed with it. It has like mantras on the back. I'll link it below. I'm obsessed with it. Okay. So for this video, there are a lot of very popular books that I could use, like It Happened One Summer, The Spanish Love Deception, I'm trying to think of some other one, The Love Hypothesis. The Love Hypothesis, is this on here? No. So there's lots of Grumpy Sunshine books that are my absolute favorites, that are absolutely phenomenal, that I could use. But I figure those recommendations are going to be in a lot of Grumpy Sunshine books, so these are Grumpy Sunshine books that I don't see absolutely everywhere. They're still pretty common, but not super duper common. For those of you who do not know, Grumpy Sunshine is a very popular book trope, specifically in romance, where one character, typically the guy, is grumpy and a little bit jaded or, you know, bitter, closed off, and he has like a soft spot for this one sunshine girl. Sometimes the sunshine girl is like a manic pixie dream girl. That's not my absolute favorite, so these have more like tame sunshine girls in my opinion, but a lot of times the girl is just manic pixie dream girl. Anyway, let's get into the recommendations. I've already been talking for far too long. The first book on my list is, at the time I'm filming this, my most recent read. I'm filming this in like middle of May. So it's my most recent read as of now, and that is A Risk Gone Forever by N.S. Perkins. This book is about a girl named Adelaide who loses her job and is responsible for keeping her family afloat financially, so she needs to find another one immediately. She finds this ad on Craigslist for the caretaker for a woman with ALS, and when she gets there, she's dressed kind of crappy and immediately makes a terrible impression on the woman's son named Matthias. Matthias is this grumpy pilot who is very protective of his mother Helen, who is the one with ALS, and doesn't want to hire Adelaide, but Helen insists that he does. This book, I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, I believe. It's really good. Like, the story, I absolutely adored the story. I adored Adelaide and Matthias' characters. The writing felt very juvenile. It felt very much like, just here's all of our emotions. Here's all the things that normally I like to decipher and interpret in books, but it just kind of laid it all out for you. It was a really good book, and I do recommend it if you like the Grumpy Sunshine trope. The next book is The Soulmate Equation by Christina Lauren. This book I gave 4 out of 5 stars. I absolutely adored it, and it's closer to a 4.5 stars, but Goodreads doesn't let you do half stars. The Soulmate Equation is about a woman named Jess Davis. She is an accountant, like a freelance accountant, and she is working in a coffee shop. Like, she works in a coffee shop every day, and every day this guy named River Pena comes in, and he is grumpy, obviously, and he gets a black Americano every single day, and then goes to his job as a geneticist. And one day, Jess and her friend are sitting there, and they ask him, you know, what exactly he does. He says that he works for a company called Genetically, or Genetically, I don't know how to pronounce it, or how, like, the company's supposed to be pronounced. But basically, they match people together based on a, like, series of certain genes, and if you get a high enough match, then you are supposed to be compatible for life. And so Jess and her friend do this, much to Jess's chagrin. She gets matched with River, and it's the highest match that the company has ever seen. And as publicity for the company that is about to launch, they fake date, and they end up actually falling in love. Grumpy Sunshine, obviously, Jess is a single mom, and she has like this, their priorities are just very different. She's very focused on her family and keeping, you know, financially keeping her family afloat. I feel like it's a very common trope in a lot of these books. River wants for nothing. He has all the money in the world, and he's grumpy and very focused and like takes his business very seriously. But when he opens up, and it's really good. The next book you probably have seen everywhere, but I thought I would include it anyway because I read it last month. I think I read it at the beginning of April, and that is Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score is about a woman named Naomi, and it's her wedding day, and she gets a call from her twin sister who's always caused trouble saying that she needs help. And so her twin sister's name is Tina. Naomi goes to this town, she goes to a coffee shop, like she runs away from her wedding, goes to this town in this coffee shop, and she runs into this guy who is super mean to her because he thinks that she's Tina. And she finds out that Tina completely duped her, left her with her young daughter named Waylay, and just ran away to be with some guy, I think in like a gang. And Knox is the guy that Naomi meets in the coffee shop. He's super grumpy, but they run into each other a lot because Naomi ends up staying on Knox's grandmother's property. And it's a really, really good book. Knox is the definition of grumpy. Naomi is the definition of sunshine without being manic pixie dream girl. And just a really cute book. Everybody and their mother has read it this month. Everybody loves it. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5, I think. The next book is All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. This is my favorite Mariana Zapata book. I have read this book. It was the first book I read in 2022, and I've probably read it 3 times through since I read it in January. It was in my 5-star reads if you watched that video. Anyway, this book is about this girl named Aurora who recently got out of a long-term relationship, and she is going to the town that she was born in, that her mother died in. And so her mother died like hiking and like went missing, and they never found her. And so Aurora goes back to this town to kind of deal with the breakup and the fallout of her life as she knew it. And she ends up staying in this garage apartment that was listed on an Airbnb type website. But when she gets there, the owner of the house is very angry that she's there, and she quickly finds out that the owner of the house's son was the one who put it on the Airbnb website. The owner's name is Tobias Rhodes. He is grumpy and closed off and a single father, and it's such a good book. Watching him open up to Aurora and let her slowly into him and his son's life. I feel like that sentence was a whole mishmash. It's really good. 5 out of 5 stars. Strongly, strongly recommend. Alright, the next book I actually physically have with me, and that is The Highland Fling by Megan Quinn. This book is about a girl named Bonnie. She is freshly fired from her 3rd job, and she comes home, and her best friend and roommate she's like, why don't we take up this ad that I saw to go run this coffee shop in Scotland while the owners are on vacation for several months. And so the 2 girls, they live in America, they move to Scotland for a few months, drop everything, move to Scotland to take care of this coffee shop in this very, very small town. And when they're there, they almost immediately run into Rowan, who is the son of the people who own the coffee shop, and has no idea that his parents are going on vacation and that they gave the coffee shop to these 2 young girls to run. So he's clearly not happy about it. This book is laugh out loud funny, but it also gets really emotional towards the end. It had everything. 4 out of 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. The next book also has a male hero named Rowan, and that is The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. I've seen this book a lot of places. Rowan is the grandson of like this world's Walt Disney. Dreamland is what their Disney World is called, but that's clearly the Cinderella Castle. Anyway, Rowan is the super grumpy guy who is normally on the business side of things, and in his will, his grandfather says that he needs to be a bit more in the like actual hands-on ride building, dream making part of things. So he goes, and for 6 months he has to work as the CEO of Dreamland itself. And then Zara drunkenly submits a proposal or like a critique of Dreamland's most popular ride, and Rowan reads it and offers her a job. And he wants nothing to do with her or Dreamland in general, and Zara is just so enchanted by Dreamland, and they're complete opposites, but slowly guy falls first. Rowan ends up falling for her. This book, a lot of people have very mixed feelings about it. I recently saw some people that really didn't like it. I liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. And I need to read the rest of this series. Okay, the next book is Meet Me in Paradise by Olivia Hubscher. This book, I read it on vacation last year. It is about this girl named Marin, and Marin's sister, Marin is very safe and very steady and has taken care of her sister Sadie since their mother died. And Sadie really wants Marin to do something wild and crazy and fun, and says that they need to take a girls trip to this tropical island. Marin reluctantly agrees, but then Sadie never shows up. Who does show up is grumpy billionaire Lucas Sy, who happens to, you know, have a really strong connection to this island. This book, look up trigger warnings, because it got surprisingly emotional at the end, and I had no idea that it would get so emotional, but definitely fits the Grumpy Sunshine trope, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it. The next book is another one on my 5-star reads list that I talked about in my 5-star reads video, and that is Act Your Age, Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. This is the 3rd book in the Brown Sisters series. It is about the youngest sister, Eve Brown, who is a bit all over the place, a bit of a flake. She applies to be the line cook at this bed and breakfast one day after her parents cut her off, say that she needs a job, and she doesn't get the job because Jacob Wayne, who is very, very grumpy, he also is autistic. He's really good autism representation in this book. He doesn't give her the job, but then he realizes as she's like leaving that she's the best person for the job, and he goes out to like get her and say, "You got the job," and then she hits him with her car, and obviously he's very grumpy about that. She is also a borderline manic pixie dream girl, but she kind of has reasons for being so. She's been very sheltered and very protected, so I think that hers is written very well, and I very much love it. I would also say that Take a Hint, Dani Brown, the 2nd book in the Brown Sisters series, is a little bit Grumpy Sunshine, but reverse. Dani's grumpy, and Zafir is sunshine. Alright, the next book that I'm going to talk about is Hate Notes by Vi Keeland and Penelope Ward. This book is about a girl named Charlotte who is thrift shopping one day and finds a wedding dress that she like tries on, and in it is a love note from a wedding that clearly didn't go well because the wedding dress ended up in the thrift shop with the note still in it, and Charlotte finds out who the note's from. She goes to like try to find this guy because she thinks it's so sweet and so romantic, and she's a hopeless romantic. He's a total jerk, and then she goes to a new job and finds out that he's her boss. His name's Reed. He has reasons for being the way he is, being so grumpy and so closed off, and I really, really liked this book. It's been a while since I read it, so I don't remember all of the details, but I do remember that he is really sweet, but very, like, in the end, but he is very grumpy in the beginning, and Charlotte is just this sweet, hopeless romantic that really wants him to be more than what he is. The next book is The Stopover by T.L. Swan. This book is about a girl who is on a flight that they have like a layover, and she ends up sleeping with the guy who sits next to her on the flight, who's like very grumpy and she doesn't know anything about, and it's really like a very passionate, hot night, and then they're never supposed to see each other again until she goes into her new job that she was actually flying to interview for and finds out that he is her boss. So it is a workplace romance, just like the last book I talked about, Hate Notes. And honestly, these books are like very comparable, but they're also very different like as the book goes on, but the concepts are very similar. Anyway, this book is Jameson Miles is very grumpy, and the girl is very much just wants to do this job. It's her dream job, and they end up falling in love. Spoiler alert, it's a romance. So yeah, Grumpy Sunshine. T.L. Swan, I think, writes a lot of Grumpy Sunshine books. This is the first book in the Miles High Club. I've only read her Miles High Club series, but from what I understand from like her Facebook groups and stuff, she writes a lot of Grumpy Sunshine in her other series. The last book on my list is Well Met by Jen DeLuca. This one, again, has a lot of mixed reviews. I know Steph Bohr didn't really like it. I absolutely loved it. This book is about a girl named Emily who moves to a small town in Maryland to take care of her sister and her niece after they were in a car accident and her sister broke her leg and like can't really do a lot of things. And so Emily moves to this small town, and her niece really wants Emily to participate in the Renaissance Fair because the niece needs an adult in order to participate. So Emily agrees to participate, and the guy who runs the Renaissance Fair, his name is Simon, and he is very grumpy and thinks Emily doesn't take it seriously enough and is just not having any part of her being there. So it's Grumpy Sunshine, a little bit of enemies to lovers, and I just absolutely loved it. I thought it was very, very sweet. It's not spicy at all, so if that's something you're looking for, you won't find that in this book, but I think the romance story is very, very sweet, and I gave this one a 5 out of 5. But I don't think I put it in my 5-star reading or 5-star book video. So that was my Grumpy Sunshine recommendations video. I do read a lot of Grumpy Sunshine books, so I can probably make a part 2 if you would be interested in that. Just let me know in the comments. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if that's something you feel like doing. It would help me out a lot. And I will see you next time. Bye guys.